Routine is the worst enemy of good performance. And also I can't make videos involving new builds if I keep playing the same bloody one. So I decided to give the second chance to the good old, boring Staff Spear Spellbreaker. Immediately, all the hurdles which initially kept me dissatisfied with the build overall started popping up again. As a warrior, you're the dead last in terms of how many tools you have to keep your HP from going down. And often you are expected to trade health for the mere opportunity to deal damage. That by itself is not a problem. Warrior was, since day one, built and balanced around exchanging his raw HP value back and forward with his enemies. Where that becomes a problem is when power creep of the game gets to the point where Warrior feels squishy and discourages that very concept it was designed around. And that definitely is the case for me with Strength Discipline Spear Spellbreaker. Who am I kidding? Even 30k health Mace Spellbreaker is too thin to trade HP in 2v1, let alone in actual teamfight. So there's no surprise Discipline build has to tiptoe around battlefield in absolute terror of anything even slightly damaging, and has to dump all his blocks and evades at once whenever someone looks in his general direction. But hey, at least you get to one-shot people from range with your spear. As you may have noticed, tiptoeing around battlefield like a coward and fishing for risk-free ranged one-shots isn't exactly what I'd describe as warrior playstyle. It plays more like Scuffed Deadeye, and if I wanted to play a Scuffed Deadeye, I'd just play Gunzerker, or even better, an actual honest-to-god bloody Deadeye. It's certainly not the end of the world. Gunzerker is decently fun to play, and having range means you can catch people off guard in places and situations you'd rather not be able to capitalize on as a melee build, making your life easier in that regard. I just don't think the loss of survivability is actually worth it for Warrior. You play similar way with Spear Spellbreaker as you do with Dual Mace Spellbreaker, with similar focus on comboing around CC and around your burst. You just play squishy setup because... I don't know. From the very first second I saw this build, I just couldn't shake the feeling that it is just built wrong, and for a while I was wondering why until I realized. There's literally no reason to play Spear Spellbreaker as a Discipline Strength build instead of Valkyr Arm Strength build. You already burst around your CC and Harrier Toss, so you can transition into Arm Strength with no drastic change on how you deliver the wpierdol. Of course, you lose some damage, as your filler autos aren't as damaging as they used to, but spear autos already sucked, and with improved durability from Arms Valkyr, you can position more aggressively and fish for opportunities in situations you'd have to immediately back away from if you had Berserker Amulet equipped, so the loss of damage is usually negligible and sometimes non-existent. The only reason I see for someone to not play Arms Valk Spellbreaker is if someone grew dependent on the crutch that is Fast Hands. And yeah, you may call me out for calling that out. After all, switching Fast Hands for something that gives extra health does seem like exchanging one crutch for another. However, I am convinced that Warrior was designed with innate tankiness in mind, even as recently as Staff has skills with long animations, such as Line Breaker. And lack of stealth, pots and other bullshit necessitate high durability to an extent, as Warrior can't avoid taking damage on approach or while disengaging from the fight. It all seems as if Warrior was indeed designed around having high innate survivability, so saying that high innate survivability is a crutch sounds a little like trying to imply that roads are a crutch just because cars that were designed to drive on the road perform better and drive easier on the bloody roads. But going further, that observation of mine that Spear Spellbreaker works better, at least in my hands, with an Arms Valkyr setup led to a follow-up tests of various currently suboptimal builds that could potentially benefit from Arms Valkyr setup. Starting of course with the Gunzerker. Gunflame, being already a burst skill of its own, but also having micro daze on it, which activates aggressive onslaught, allows you to more reliably squeeze your rifle 2s and 3s into burst precision window after each gunflame, making your burst damage, especially with resets, roughly as explosive as you'd expect from a full glass setup. That said, with Valk you have the minimum necessary durability to stand your ground against an opponent jumping onto you, so situations where you're heavily pressured end up less of a panicked scramble and more of an actual duel. One not exactly fortunate outtake, however, is the reduced weapon flexibility for your build, as persisting skills such as Axe 5 will have trouble fitting into your burst precision window, and weapons with no innate CC such as Greatsword or Dual Swords will understandably struggle to activate aggressive onslaught, and Hammer is just misunderstood. I'm not ready to swear my life on Valk Gunzaka, and I probably never will, for understandable reasons, but there's at least hope for it. Though I need to do much more testing, aka throwing in ranked to figure out what's in store. You can expect my findings to arrive soon onto the channel, and should they turn out fruitful enough, dedicated build guides soon after. Until then, a big sign of gratitude to all the generous supporters, continuously considering my dubious quality content worth their money. You are all truly welcome. Crapface out.